Hi, my name is Eddie Fieldhouse. I'm the marketing director at Pegasus. We're a transportation company located in Louisville, Kentucky, and we do a whole host of different types of transportation, one of which is Derby transportation, Oaks transportation, and lots of different things during this week, normally when we're not in quarantine. And in addition to that, we also do Kentucky Bourbon Trail tours as well. So when the pandemic subsides and you all are ready to go back and do things, definitely check us out and see what kind of tours we've got going on and sign up. So today I am going to go through two different cocktail recipes. One is the traditional Oaks Lily. It is a cocktail that features vodka. And then I am going to also do a variation of this cocktail that I've kind of changed up a bit that brings in some of the history of the race itself, as well as features bourbon. So I do not personally like vodka at all. I don't get the point. But I do love Woodford. So Woodford is the sponsor of the Kentucky Derby. So I have chosen two of their products today just to feature. You can use either one of these in your cocktail. The Lily itself is a pretty sweet cocktail, so I recommend using the rye. The rye, I think, with the floral notes as well as sort of the spiciness to it will cut through the sweetness of the cocktail to where it will be a nice balanced cocktail. You can also use their wheated product or just their flagship. Either one of those will work. And really any of the bourbons will work, so feel free to pick your favorite. So let's get into it. Let me go through the things that you will need for these recipes. If you are doing the vodka lily, so the traditional Oaks Lily, you'll need vodka, orange liqueur, simple syrup, lemon juice or lemons, and cranberry juice as well. And then for the Woodford Lily, so my version or variation of it, which I'm just going to preface this with, I am not at all, or would I ever claim to be a mixologist, but in a previous life of mine, I bartended quite a bit, and anyway, I will not shout out to the person that taught me everything just in case this is a bad drink. But I got confirmation from several of my friends that it's a pretty tasty drink, so feel free to try it. So for the Woodford Lily, you're going to need Woodford Reserve. You can either get, like I said, I recommend the rye. This is available in almost all states. This is not necessarily an allocated product that I'm aware of, so you should have no problem getting it. If not, you can use any rye, or you can just use a regular bourbon. So then the next thing you'll need is Pimms. So Pimms is a gin-based fruit cup. So I'm reading my notes here because I don't exactly memorize exactly what Pimms is, but it's a gin-based fruit cup, or it's a liqueur, how probably most Americans that aren't used to these types of products would refer to it as. It was invented in 1823 by James Pim, and it is currently owned by Diageo. So not Brown-Forman like these products here, but I really like this liqueur or fruit cup. But one of the reasons why I chose this is because the Kentucky Oaks is part of the Kentucky Derby Festival, and between the Oaks and the Derby, they are the two oldest continually contested sporting events in North America, and they were modeled after the British Epsom Oaks, or the British Epsom Oaks is what the Kentucky Oaks is modeled after. And if you are in that region and you are drinking a cocktail on a nice warm spring day, you will probably have a Pimms cup. So that's why I chose to put this particular liqueur in the cocktail today. I also think it makes for a very nice balanced drink. So that's one that you'll need, not very much of it. And then you will also need orange Oleo, which I'll go into sort of what that is here in a minute. Or you can use your same orange liqueur for this as well. Lemon juice and cranberry. And then you will also need orange bitters. I am not going to use orange bitters. I think a better option would be the Old Forester Hummingbird Bitters. These were designed by the master taster, Jackie Zykan. She's amazing. I get a lot of cocktail inspiration ideas from her. But this is a really great bitters recipe that you can use. If you you can either use, like Fee Brothers or something like that for the regular orange bitters. I think the more orange that goes into this, the better that it complements the Woodford. And then lastly, you'll need some raspberries and blackberries as well, and some lemons to cut for lemon wheels. So now let's get into it. So the first one that we're gonna make is the traditional Oaks Lily. So my local liquor store here in Kentucky had the Oaks cups that would be normally served today at Churchill Downs. They're selling them, I'm sure, to promote the race this fall in September. Yeah, so I think that that's a pretty fitting glass. It's also gorgeous and, you know, has all these beautiful lilies on it. So just as a kind of little aside, why I have all these lilies everywhere and why I'm in this attire. So you typically wear pink on Oaks Day, and the reason for that is because the race itself features fillies. So it is the lilies for fillies is kind of the nickname, just like Derby is the run for the roses. So the winner of the Kentucky Oaks gets draped in lilies, whereas the winner of the Derby gets draped in roses. So that's why I've got all this pink on today, and I've got all these nice, lovely lilies everywhere. And that is why this glass is covered in them. All right, so let's first make the traditional lily. So I'm gonna get my shaker tin because it's got citrus in it, so we're gonna need to shake it up. And the first step is to add 1.5 ounces of vodka. Do not judge my vodka. I kind of forgot to get the Grey Goose that's normally in it at the track. So I have Heaven Hill vodka. Vodka is tasteless and odorless if it's done right, so it doesn't really matter all that much what kind of vodka you use. I know that that's a travesty to vodka drinkers, but sorry about it. Anyway, so I've got this vodka here. Heaven Hill is also a Kentucky brand, so love to support them. They're awesome. They've got some very, very incredible, inexpensive products, as well as some really nice, expensive ones as well. So I've got my Heaven Hill vodka, and we're gonna need the orange liqueur, which I just have an off-brand orange liqueur today. You're gonna need simple syrup. I'm going to use my Oleo. So Oleo is a pretty fun thing to make if you've never made it before, and it's very easy. So you essentially just take sugar and you put it in a bag, and then you peel an entire orange or this is lemon Oleo that I'm making for tomorrow. With this, for this recipe, you essentially just take the peels. You don't want to get the pith, and the pith, by the way, is the white thing underneath. So here's a peeled lemon. You want to get just the surface, because if you get any of that white stuff on the peels, it'll make your Oleo more bitter than you need it. So this is only about 24 hours old, if that. And as you can see, that sugar in there is starting to turn to kind of this delicious gooey oil. So that is kind of a really cool way to get a flavored simple syrup. The one that I made a couple of days ago was a blood orange one, which I really was thinking it was going to come out red, anyway, it didn't. It came out this lovely kind of lemony orange color. But this is what I'm going to use as the simple syrup in both cocktails. I am working from home, so I've got some cats running around, so if you hear them, I apologize. Just bear with me. So the next step is going to be lemon juice. You can either measure it out. If you're with a serious mixologist, they will say always measure it out. It's only a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, so that's pretty much what is in half of a lemon. So I'm going to just cut the lemon and not measure it out, just because I don't really feel like straining all that right now. So, and it's a little bit quicker and easier to use, and most people at home are not going to measure out lemon juice. But it's definitely important to use fresh lemon juice. So anyway, again, to go through that, we need our vodka, our orange liqueur, our simple syrup, our lemon, and as well as cranberry juice. So I just got some ocean spray today. Grocery stores are pretty limited on most things right now. So anyway, I don't have any fancy cranberry right now. But anyway, this is still good and it will work just fine. So I'm gonna move this Woodford out of the way for just a second, so I've got a little bit more space. And I'm gonna move these things over there. You do not need the bitters for the traditional Oaks Lily. And it's a very sweet cocktail, so just bear in mind if you're not a fan of super sweet things, you might not love this drink and you might love the next one a little bit more. Okay, so you're gonna need a jigger. here's my jigger. This is 1.5 ounces. It'll usually tell you on the inside of a jigger, or you can use a measuring cup, whatever is easiest for you. And then this other side is half that. So this is 3/4. And that's kind of just an easy way to measure. So for the traditional Oaks Lily, we are going to use 1.5 ounces of vodka. So in a jigger, you don't want to do it just below, because that's not 1.5. You want to get it to where it starts to bubble over, and that's how you get closer to exactly 1.5 ounces. And the more closely you measure these things out, the more balanced your cocktail will be. This recipe is just a standard Oaks Lily recipe, so there's no changes in this. It's a pretty standard format. The next step is going to be a 1/2 ounce of the orange liqueur. And I'm gonna put that in now. And then we are gonna do 1/2 ounce of simple. So I'm gonna use my Oleo for this because I just really like it and it tastes really good. It's very sweet and very orangey, and it's super thick. So let's skip that dropper, it's a little slow. Let's use this instead. All right, 1/2 ounce of that. And then we've got 1/2 ounce of lemon. So rather than measuring that out, I am just going to cut a lemon in half and use half of the lemon to juice it. All right. Fun little trick is this is not the easiest thing to squeeze and get all the juice out of. So if you just cut it into quarters, that really makes it a lot easier for you to squeeze all of the juice out. And then you don't waste as much. So I'm just gonna squeeze those directly into the tin. And you do not need to use the lemon peels like the recipe yesterday for the seasonal smash. I dropped one of my lemon pieces, so just need to cut another one. All right. So we've got roughly about 1/2 ounce of lemon juice in there. And then the next step is going to be 3 ounces of cranberry. Oops, that's not cranberry, that's more vodka. It's not one of those videos. So, like I said, this is 1.5. So I'm gonna do 2 of those. So that equals 3. And then, uh-oh. Okay, that was my cat, sorry. She's a little kitten, she's trying to get up here. All right, so now that we have everything in the shaker tin, by the way, there's not ice in there. You don't want it to water down as you're waiting to finish making your drink. So in the meantime, I'm going to get my glass ready because I don't want to wait when I pour it in to do the garnishes. So the next step is going to be to get the other half of your lemon if you did not drop it, which I do not. Oh, but look, I have another half. So you're gonna cut a lemon wheel for garnish and for the side of the glass. You can also do a lemon peel, and you can express it over top if you really like the lemon oil sort of smell to it. I personally don't think that's necessary. I like a nice pretty lemon wedge or wheel. So we're gonna stick that on the glass. And then you will also need a toothpick to do the blackberry garnish. So on a traditional lily, you will do a blackberry, whereas for my version of the lily. All right, so we had to cut because my 7-week-old kitten was trying to climb my little setup here. So sorry about the shakiness, but we're gonna continue. So you're gonna take your lemon wedge or wheel, and you're gonna put on both sides a nice little blackberry. So it looks kind of like that. And you're gonna stick that on the side of the glass and put that aside for a moment. So again, I did not have any ice in this shaker tin just yet because I don't want to water it down while I'm waiting. But what I can do is I can get this glass sort of ready to pour. I'm gonna get this cranberry juice out of the way. And we're gonna take our ice, stick it in glass so that it's ready to go when we have our cocktail done. And set that aside. And then we've got ice that's going to go into the shaker tin. So I can shake it and get it nice and delicious and stir up that citrus. I'm gonna get my strainer and set that down in here because I'm gonna use that in just a moment. If you watched my last video, I have no idea where the top of this went. So I'm just gonna use a cup to seal that off, and I'm gonna shake it up. All right, so now we've got a very lovely pink color. Can't get this cup out now. It's too slick. There we go. All right, so we've got that ready to go. You're gonna wanna get a straw to taste it just to make sure it's the way you want it before you pour it out. I do not have any small straws, so I'm gonna use a giant straw. So I'm just gonna do like that. Tastes like a lily. All right, get our strainer and strain that delicious pink cocktail into our cup. All right, so that is our lovely vodka version of the lily, or the traditional lily. It's delicious, like expected. And now I'm going to do the other version, so the Woodford Lily. All right, so for this one, you will need the Oleo, and like I said, it's pretty easy to make. You get some blood oranges. You probably need about 5 or 6 of them to make about that much, just because you're only gonna use the peels. So, and you're gonna get a Ziploc bag, put a cup of sugar in there, and then you're gonna put, your your orange peels in there with it. Leave it for, a day or 2 or 3, however long you want, depending on how saturated you want that sugar to be. This was only 2 days, so, and it's very orangey, so you don't probably need to do it more than 2 days, and it turned out really good. So that's how you make that Oleo. That's all you gotta do, you just let it sit. I recommend putting it in the fridge, just, I don't know, makes me more comfortable that it's not gonna go bad. All right, so let's get this vodka out of the way and put our Woodford right up front, the one that I'm going to use. And then in this recipe, by the way, you can buy Oleo. Old Forester sells a great, delicious, amazing Oleo. You can read all about it online. This is a really, really, really high quality product. But so you can get it as well, just buy it. But it's really easy to make, so you can also do that as well. All right, so the other product that I am gonna use today from Old Forester is gonna be the Hummingbird Bitters, because I think it just works really well with this cocktail. So I'm gonna just put my glass there, get that ready to go for later. I need to go empty out my tin and rinse it out. And that's good to go. So the first step is to add the bitters. And I'm gonna do just 2 dashes of these bitters, or sort of 2 dropperfuls. Because again, as you can tell, I don't really like super sweet, but I kind of like the viscosity that sugar gives you. So I'm gonna put 2 drops of that in there. The next step is going to be 1.5 ounces of the Woodford Rye. And we're gonna get our jigger, and we're gonna take that and do 1.5 ounces. I'll just do a little bit more, just because, why not? It's quarantine, so we need it. All right, so I'm gonna put that back. Next step is going to be the Pimms. So this is gonna be 1/2 ounce, so not a whole lot, but it gives a nice flavor to it. And again, this sort of goes back to the history of the oaks and it being sort of centered in England. So we're gonna put in 1/2 ounce of this. Put that aside. And next step is going to be 1/2 ounce of the blood orange Oleo, or Oleo sacrum. And again, that dropper was a good idea, but didn't really work out. Because who wants just to use that much sugar? We want more. All right, so there's that. Next step is going to be the 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. So I'm going to get a lemon and cut it in half. And then, as you remember, we're gonna do a lemon wheel, or a lemon wedge. I'm gonna do a wheel for this one, just so we know the difference. They are different in color, so just bear that in mind. It's not like you won't know. And I'm gonna stick that on our cup for a moment until I get to the point where I can get those other fruits on there. And I'm gonna cut this into quarters so I can juice as much of that lemon as I can without having to get a juicer, which I do have. You can use those. I just kind of don't like them as much because you kind of just mash everything into those things. So anyway, oop, that went everywhere. Okay, we have got our lemon juice. This one's a little drier than the last one. Not a whole lot of lemon. And like I said, if you don't have the hummingbird bitters, you can always use orange bitters. Those are pretty common. You can get those at the grocery store, most places. All right, so we've got our lemon juice in there, and the last step is gonna be the cranberry. Now, for this cocktail, I want to taste the Woodford a little bit more than what I normally would if I put in 3 ounces of cranberry juice, but it's important to have the color, as well as the flavor is good too for the cranberry. Kind of tones it down a bit because it's a little bit more bitter. So I'm gonna do 2 ounces. You can do 1.5 too if you really love the taste of the bourbon. But I think sort of in my practices, the 2 ounces seem to taste the best. So I'm going to do the top of the 1.5. I'm gonna flip the other side over and do another 1/2 ounce. All right, so now we've got our cranberry juice in there. Get that out of the way. And now we're ready to garnish. So let's just stick that tin over there for a moment. And we need to finish this garnish. So because this one is not gonna be as pink, I wanted to add something pink to it. So in a Pimms cup, you typically throw a lot of fruit into it. And it's really about sort of the visual. So that's why I sort of chose the raspberry. When I've made Pimms cups in the past, that's usually what I use. And then we're gonna need to get our toothpick, if I can get it out of there while holding these things. Stick that on through, and then, whoop, oops. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, this lemon is just not working with me. Okay, it's hanging on for dear life. Okay, so let's stick that on there. When you're at home, you're probably more graceful than I am. As you can see, very dramatic drink. Okay, so now we're ready to shake. As soon as we add some ice to this glass. This is not one to stay on. I'm going to get another lemon wheel. It's a bad lemon wheel. And a bad raspberry, it's kind of goo. Okay. Get a pretty lemon at the bottom. Okay. This one kind of feels squishy, but we're gonna give it a try. I'll cut a little thicker this time too. All right, get those out of the way. Better lemon wheel. Take my blackberry. These are just very juicy lemons. They're kind of just liquid on the inside. Okay. Stick that on the side, hope that it stays. It's good enough. Okay, now we're ready to shake. And the idea of why you would shake this drink is because it has citrus in it. And when you shake up citrus, it makes it taste better. It really integrates it into the drink. This also waters it down as well. So you're not just drinking straight booze. All right, now I gotta try to get this thing off. Really struggling today. All right, put a little bit more ice in this cup, and we're gonna strain it out. Oh, we're gonna taste it first, and then we're gonna strain it out. I don't know where my straw went though. Oh, there it is. Ooh, yeah, it's good. Okay. So this drink is obviously also pink, but not quite as electric pink as the regular Lily. This is also less sweet, and there we have it, the Woodford Lily. It's really good. It's like punchy and delicious, and definitely my favorite. And the smell of the raspberry and the blackberry is a really nice addition when you're drinking it. So that brings me to the end of the video. So these stupid lemons, they don't want to stay on the glass. But we've got our traditional Lily and our Woodford Lily. Hopefully you all can enjoy this today on your 2019 would have been Oaks Day. But join us in the fall because we would love to have you as part of the festival. So enjoy these on your weekend. And yeah, they're great for barbecues, and if you're gonna mix this with, or you're gonna pair this with food, it really goes well with kind of any bold flavors, because this is kind of like a nice punchy cocktail to drink when it's a nice beautiful spring day or warm weather. And it's kind of a little bit based on the Lily and a little bit based on a Pimms cup, and then it's got the Pimms in it. So you've got all kinds of fun stuff to taste this weekend, and yeah, we should be good to go. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and we also have a YouTube channel. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please like and subscribe our videos. Talk to you all soon.